Hey, everybody, welcome into this week's episode of FKC Fantasy Hour. We're back. It is a slightly less rotund crew tonight. We are we're without
We're a
Ryan,
little bit
who is,
lighter.
we're without Ryan tonight. He is under the weather. GWS Rhino. Speaking of get well soon, I guess we should start the show off with the biggest news of the week. A moment of silence for basically anybody who drafted Nick Chubb in the first 2 rounds because they just lost a top running back. So, moment of silence. Thank you. Now let's look at as we look at the what's going on now. Let's start there. The Browns bring in Kareem Hunt today for a visit. No news on if Kareem has been offered a contract. I would assume that we'll know more tomorrow about Kareem Hunt. But Jerome Ford looked pretty well last night in the Monday night game, as we're recording this on Tuesday night. Busted out that long touchdown run after changing directions. I don't want to say that this is it's never a good thing. So let's start there. But I don't know how Cleveland as a team, and this is not talking fantasy relevancy, this is talking the Cleveland Browns, without Nick Chubb being that guy who is as good as Nick Chubb is, I think the Cleveland Browns just took a severe step back after a great week 1 win against the Cincinnati Bengals. And a game that when they lost Nick Chubb, they had a shot to still win in the last 5 minutes of the game if it wasn't for the strip sack fumble by Hightower that gave it to TJ Watt. I feel like this is a game where if you're the Cleveland Browns, this is going to be the one where if you miss the playoffs by a game, this is the one where it's going to be, we had an opportunity and we lost our best player.
Yeah,
That one hurt last night.
that was a huge loss. Probably the biggest loss of anybody. He's done for the season. He's same knee that he tore up while he was at Georgia. But Deshaun just looked really off last night. You start the game off pick six. The crowd had to get into his head. What I'm saying
is this did he look off, or is this the Steelers' defense is going to be good? They just ran into an absolute buzzsaw week 1 in the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. No, their defense is really good. I mean, you got TJ Watt. Guy's probably one of the next to.
I just love that the camera just kept going upwards. I was waiting for it just to be like, and it's gone.
All right, there we go. You got TJ Watt. Him and Aaron Donald are one A, one B as far as defensive ends in the game. You get really good secondary, even though Minka Fitzpatrick got banged up last night. And I believe they lost to somebody else last night too, other than Minka Fitzpatrick.
They definitely lost Fitzpatrick to the chest injury.
They were still able to apply pressure. The pocket was just collapsing on Deshaun. They definitely got in his head. The face masks, the pushing the referee. Once they figured they were in his head, just keep applying the pressure. That's how they were able to get to him. But as far as Ford, looked pretty damn explosive. He caught a couple of passes out of the backfield. Going forward, you got to figure they got one of the best O lines in football. You have all the faith in this kid. They drafted him, I believe, 22. I think it was like a 4th-round pick or a 5th-round pick. I'm not sure what round they picked him in. But he's explosive. He can catch balls out of the backfield, and Kareem Hunt could be the good compliment to him. I really think that they're going to stick with him. Stefanski actually came out and said today he's their guy. So yeah, this is the kind of game that they should have been able to win. Despite losing Chubb because I think Ford ripped off about 110 yards. couple of
Yeah,
catches out of the
I think,
backfield.
but I think the thing is, I think 60 of them were on that long
Yeah,
touchdown
yeah,
run.
yeah, yeah.
That
The
definitely
almost
helped.
touchdown. The almost touchdown. The down at the one.
Oh yeah, down the one. Sorry,
Um,
should just let him
but you know,
score.
If Deshaun can get his receivers more incorporated into the game, Elijah Moore wasn't a factor until like late in the second half. Um,
After Minka Fitzpatrick left the game.
yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, this game can, like you said, this game can come back and bite them in the ass if they miss the playoffs. Uh, but it's got to go forward, and I think I don't necessarily think they're going to give Ford the same amount of carries as you would Nick Chubb,
no, and I
even
think
though
that's why Kareem Hunt, potentially a Cam Akers, it makes sense for them to be in the market and listening to any and everything because they don't have a proven back on the roster after him. So this is one of those where somebody is going to be wearing a Cleveland Browns jersey on Sunday that's not on this roster as of Tuesday night at 11:45 at night as we record this, because they're going to need a backup that you at least know has NFL experience. Kareem Hunt, Cam
Uncle
Akers, I
Lenny,
don't care who it is.
Uncle Lenny.
Yeah, that's again, all three names I think are 100% in play for the Cleveland Browns right now. Um, Second biggest news coming out of that game, Deontay Johnson not playing in that game, but was placed on injured reserve this week, earlier today. Hamstring. He's out for at least the next 4 weeks.
Yes, because my two leagues that I have him in, he's in that little IR spot,
Mm,
and he's
mm,
tucked away for the next 4 weeks. So I think I'll see him right around Halloween.
mm. That's pretty scary. All pun intended. On top of him, another hamstring came up on Monday Night Football. Jamal Williams of the New Orleans Saints, he's now down, potentially out this week. Keep an eye on the waiver wire there because it's Shaheed after him, correct?
No, oh,
No, it's hold on, it's not
he's a
Shaheed.
receiver.
Shahid's
No,
the
oh,
Swiss
got it.
Army knife.
I can't. Kendra Miller
Yes, that's who it was.
for the next week, and then Kamara comes back in week 4.
What, I thought he came back in week 5. I thought he was out the first 4 weeks.
Three
It's the
games.
first 3. Okay.
3 games. I get him
So if
back
you
in 2 weeks.
so if you need a 1 week stash, that might be your guy, depending on what Jamal
Mhm.
Williams' injury report looks like. Um, my favorite coach in the National Football League right now, Man Campbell of the Detroit Lions, said earlier today, David Montgomery quad is in the boat of quote day to day. So if you're a David Montgomery owner, if there's a running back out there, I would suggest picking them up and putting on your roster because if he does not play in this game, this could very well be the Jahmyr Gibbs show where coach give me the ball more and could definitely cut into the playing time of David Montgomery. So that's something you need to keep an eye on, especially if you're a David Montgomery owner.
I know somebody who's a David Montgomery owner, and he'll probably be listening later. So enjoy it, Rye.
Keep an eye out on that. AR-15, Anthony Richardson of the Indianapolis Colts. He left his pretty big game against the Houston Texans early. Concussion. He is in concussion protocol. Shane Steichen said that's pretty much all he said is that he's in the protocol. They haven't really released more information on that. If he does not play, it'll be everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Rico, Gardner Minshew, starting at the quarterback position for the Indianapolis Colts. If that is the case, I'm going to tell you right now, if you got Michael Pittman in the league, fire him up because Gardner Minshew loved him some Michael Pittman. Yes, and we'll get to our daily guys as we do at the end of the show. 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan said earlier today, quote, "It is too early to provide a accurate injury report on wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, who left the game on Sunday with a shoulder injury. If that's a long-term thing or if that's a thing where he'll be out multiple weeks, don't necessarily like from a football standpoint, I don't think the San Francisco 49ers will be hurt by it, but a fantasy team, this could be very bad for you because he's been a guy who probably won some teams a week 1 matchup by starting him and him putting up 35 points. And he was on the way to have a pretty good game this week prior to the injury. So if he's going to be out for an extended period of time, and say you're in a boat where you drafted him in the 4th or 5th round, and you have a guy like Nick Chubb, or you have a guy like Jamal Williams, or you have a guy like Deontay Johnson, now you've lost 2 of your guys that are early draft picks, and now you're looking at your roster going, really hope I hit something at the tail end of this thing, because if not, we could be in a lot of fucking trouble.
Maybe get lucky on that waiver wire.
And honestly, this is one of those weeks. If Jerome Ford is available, you may have to spend a little bit more of that fab budget if you use a budget, because you're gonna have to go get, and this is an opportunity to go get a number one guy. Like, let's be real here. I used a small bit of my fab budget. I believe it was either in your brother's league or in my league on.
Billy doesn't have one.
Oh, okay, then it was mine. It was Kieran Williams in LA before they announced that they weren't going to play Cam Akers. I spent it after he scored the 2 touchdowns, figuring, okay, this is at least the goal line back, and losing Austin Eckler and losing fucking Aaron Jones, because I have both of them in that league, not having either one of them, knowing that I was going to have to start some random guys at running back this week. He was a guy that when I saw, okay, even if I get 2 touchdowns from him, that's more than I'm going to get from another random soul on the waiver wire. So I probably spent a little bit more on him. Now I've seemed to luck my way into a number 1 running back. Jerome Ford isn't going to be the same thing here, guys. Let me be very abundantly clear about that as you're listening to this show. Everybody knows Jerome Ford's going to be the number 1 running back in Cleveland moving forward. Like, there is no question. Stefanski's already made it abundantly clear. Even if they bring in one of those other guys, this is his show until something happens. Fumbles, maybe he gets dinged up and somebody has a great game. So if you're looking for a diamond in the rough, it isn't Jerome Ford. But if you need a running back for the next couple weeks and you have to spend a little extra, this will probably be the week that I would friendly suggestion that you go do it, because you're going to get a guy who's going to get probably 15 to 20 carries a game. I mean, Nick Chubb was probably on the 25 carry-ish range. So you're probably going to give him about 4 or 5 less than Chubb was at, and bring somebody else in to eat his carries plus the 4 or 5 that you're taking off of the Nick Chubb workload. So let's see who else got hurt. Jalen Waddle is in concussion protocol, according to Mike McDaniel. I don't necessarily know that I like this one. It sucks for Jalen Waddle fantasy owners, but if you have Tua, I don't know necessarily that you're upset, because you still have Tyreek Hill to throw to.
True.
You still have, I mean, Braxton Berrios is running around like the 4'7" version of Wes Welker right now. He's running fucking slant patterns and fucking button curls. Joe Burrow aggravated the calf late in the game against Baltimore. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to say it on the show, and I've said it basically the first 2 weeks of the regular season. You could tell in the Cleveland game that he was not healthy. And he is trying to play through this, because he knows that if he does not play, this team is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, but at the same time, you also got to think about the more he plays, the more damage he could be doing.
Oh, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
You're not gonna necessarily start thinking, well, let's just call it a day here in week 3. It's not going to happen, because there was talk today that they might want to shut him down until after the bye week. And I mean, is Simeon right?
No, it is Jake Browning.
Oh, didn't they have Trevor Simeon in the
They
preseason?
did. Yes, he did not win the second quarterback job. Jake Browning beat him out. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. If you shut him down, I'm not starting Jake Browning.
No, absolutely not. I mean, and then
I'm picking up the phone. I'm calling Colt McCoy. I'm calling the Indianapolis Colts and seeing what they want for Gardner Minshew. I'm picking up the phone. I'm calling the Dolphins about Mike White. I'm not starting Jake Browning with this roster. If Joe Burrow tomorrow, if Zach Taylor comes out and says Joe is done until the bye week with the calf because something's not right, you can't. And I love my guys. I'll be the first one to die on the sword for my guys. You can't sit here and tell me that Jake Browning gives you the best chance to win football games. I don't care if he knows the playbook. I don't care if he knows the formations. There are enough guys that are veterans out there that give you a better chance to win football games than Jake Browning. Will it suck?
Bring back the red rifle.
Give me death taxes and Andy Dalton. I'm fine with it. Sign me up. Give me back the red rocket. You can bring in fucking.
What is he? He's got to be what, like 36, or is he older than that?
Let's take a gander.
Because you have to do something. Because the thing is, and right now we're talking football wise. We're not talking fantasy wise.
Correct.
But the fantasy aspect, forget it. It just destroys everybody on that team.
35 years old, and he's currently on the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, that's right. They're not giving him up, and they need him for Young.
I mean, they could give him up. It's not the end of the world, but it's also you'd probably have to give up something for him. I mean, you're obviously not going. It's a 2-year contract that he signed in Carolina.
I don't think the money's the issue. I think just for Carolina is the experience that he brings for their young quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. I think from that standpoint, if I'm Carolina, I wouldn't do it. But if you do, there are veterans out there that you could sign. Colt McCoy is just as good as Andy Dalton when it comes to teaching somebody and playing in a pinch and things like that. Or I'm gonna sound like a crazy man here right now, and that's fine because that's what I do. If you shut down Joe Burrow, and this would also help fantasy wise, maybe you pick up the maybe you pick up the phone and you call the Houston Texans and you talk about Davis Mills. Good arm, got a good head on his shoulders, probably learn some plays fairly quickly. You put him around a couple weapons to make his life a little bit easier. It's not a bad fit. We are talking hypothetical because I don't think they're going to shut down Joe Burrow, especially going into the rematch against the Los Angeles Rams. But as a multi-league Joe Burrow owner, there's a strong chance that the guy on this microphone that is the Bengals fan does not start Joe Burrow this week because they are playing Aaron Charles Donald.
Yeah, he
with that offensive line playing as bad as it has been, there's no way he's outrunning Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Not with a bad calf.
No. If anything, it makes it worse because he's going to try even harder to get away from him.
Yeah.
And then that's it. He goes down once in that game.
And then it pops, and then Jake Browning's your starting quarterback for the rest of the year.
Yes. But now just think about this. We talked before about, Aaron Rodgers.
If he gets hurt, they're going to sign Jameis Winston.
Not bad. Aaron Rodgers has had calf problems. Ultimately, those ligaments just can't take it anymore, and they snap. If he's starting now, and you just gave him all that money, you're already in the 0-2 hole.
Mm-hmm.
You're already in that, 60, 70 percentile, 0-2, you don't make the playoffs. I'm not saying to, it's we're 0-2, let's just call it a day. But the organization, with that money invested and all that guaranteed money invested, they'll have a lot to say if he's limping around practice this week. I don't just think that, you're not going to take the power out of your coach's hands because that's what you pay them for and trust them with. But you just made this guy now the second highest paid quarterback in football.
So their schedule is, and this is going to sound probably bad on my end. I almost considered not playing him against the Rams this week, looking at the next couple weeks of their schedule. At Tennessee should be a win with a even semi-healthy Joe Burrow. On the road at Arizona, that's a win. Then we play Seattle. If Joe sits out the LA game and plays well in those other two games, that's as close to a 50-50 as you're going to get all year. Then you go into the bye week, and then coming out of the bye week is the treacherous game that I don't want to see on the schedule with a hurt Joe Burrow, and that is at the San Francisco 49ers.
Wait, let me real quick. You played three NFC West teams in a row.
Correct.
Here's the thing. They're non-conference games.
We play 4 in 6 weeks.
But
Rams,
what I'm saying is
Titans, and then the 2 teams
the
the bye
Titans.
week, and
I'm sorry, you said the Titans. So you do have the one.
one conference game.
Yeah, and you're already 0-2 in the conference. It's all going to come down to practice and see how he is in practice.
But if you're going to shut him down until after the bye week, you put him on IR right now. You lose him for the 4 weeks. You sign Jameis Winston, and you go into the dance with Jameis Winston against the Rams, the Titans, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks, and then bring Burrow back for the San Francisco game.
Well, today's Tuesday.
You'd have to have Jameis in tomorrow. You would have to know that you're not starting Joe for the next 4 weeks tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow's going to be a very telling day for the Cincinnati Bengals, because if Joe Burrow gets announced as he is not playing, it is Jake Browning or the field. I think the field ends up making more starts than Jake Browning does the next 4 weeks. And for a fantasy value, I think Jameis Winston gives you a better chance for fantasy points than Jake Browning, unless you're a Joe Mixon owner, because I feel like if Jake Browning is the starting quarterback, it's going to be handoff left side Joe Mixon, handoff right side Joe Mixon, handoff up the middle Joe Mixon. Oh, look, there's Joe Mixon. Because you're going to be playing it in at least 2 of those games. You're going to be playing some high tempo defenses in Seattle and the Rams. Tennessee hasn't looked bad defensively. They haven't looked great, but the way the offensive line has been playing for Cincinnati, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Last name I want to talk about before we get on to the next portion of our show, Saquon Barkley, multiple weeks of the ankle. Who the fuck is the number 1 running back in New York now?
Matt Breida.
Until he gets hurt again.
Well, yeah. There's been a bunch of talk. Whether he's out for 3 games or now he's day to day. They listed him today as day to day.
There's no way.
Playing Thursday.
No way.
No shot he's playing Thursday. And it didn't even matter if they were playing the cupcake defense.
It didn't matter if they were playing Sunday. He wasn't playing this week.
Maybe he has a shot to play the Monday night game next week against Seattle. I'll be there. You know, I'd like to see him play again. I saw him play a couple of years ago, and that's it's really cool when you get to see certain players that you normally don't think you have a shot to see, and to watch that guy run the ball live was pretty damn cool. So I guess with practices and everything, but yeah, I guarantee you 0 shot he plays on Thursday.
I have a better shot of suiting up for the New York Giants on Thursday.
Oh, I was thinking the Little Giants. I was like the Icebox.
Damn Icebox. All right. So I know Ryan is not here, but in Ryan's spirit, we have a favorite portion of this show now. It's let's talk about Desmond Ridder because of our wager for dinner on the Desmond Ridder stat line for 2023-2024, because I don't think Desmond Ridder is a good quarterback. He's decided to be pro Desmond Ridder. Currently, through 2 games, Desmond Ridder, 34 of 50 with a 68% completion ratio for 352 total yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. We have over under 3,000 passing yards, and I think we had an over under, I believe, on interceptions and touchdowns. Maybe it was like net touchdowns, interceptions. I have it written down somewhere. But yeah, that's Desmond Ritter watch. Enough talk about fucking Desmond Ritter on this show.
So wait, hold on. I want to know about this wager though.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a specific dinner, or is it any kind of dinner? Is it the
We did
winner's
not.
choice?
We did not discuss where. But I'll make sure that you're invited.
Okay, I appreciate the invite.
Mhm.
I'm just saying that it could be expensive for the loser.
I believe it will be expensive for the loser. I don't think there's much of a if in this scenario.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk
Can I
weekly.
get a ribeye? Can I get a ribeye? And what would you like on your side? A fillet.
Yeah,
Thank you.
a second ribeye.
Side of filet mignon.
Yeah. All right, let's talk week 3 quarterback rankings. We'll just do the top 10 real quick. At 10 is Anthony Richardson, still questionable, traveling to Baltimore. Don't really know why he's in the top 10 because that's stupid. When Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, who's playing at Arizona, Brock Purdy against the Giants, and not Russell Wilson, I'm sorry, and Geno Smith against Carolina.
No
I was looking at
Denver.
the wrong name.
No Denver talk. Fuck Denver. Fuck Denver. Fuck Sierra Thunder.
Ooh, that one still hurts. Number 9, Justin Fields. The only thing he's good at right now is fantasy running wise because it's not throwing because that team's god fucking awful. The injured Joe Burrows currently sits at 8. I don't know why he's in the top 10. Probably not going to play. Kirk Cousins is at 7. Justin Herbert is at 6. Tua Tagovailoa is at 5. Josh Allen at 4. Lamar Jackson at 3. Jalen Hurts at 2. And the number 1 quarterback going into this week is Patrick Mahomes II. The big thing here is I don't know how Dak Prescott is not a top 10 quarterback this week playing Arizona, unless you're telling me that they're going to win by 60 and they're going to be running the ball the entire second half. Because Arizona is god awful.
Yeah.
They're just not good.
Yeah.
Anything surprising in there for you?
No, not at all. I do think, and I'm looking and I see they have Deshaun down at number 12 against Tennessee that everybody can throw all over.
This will be a very telling game for the future of Deshaun Watson as quarterback of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, but no, as far as that, no, nothing really is jumping out and is like, oh, this guy is way lower than he should be. You know, no, everything seems to be in place. I just think Mahomes might be in for one of those like 40 plus type games. Back to back.
He's due for one.
He's due.
If you're playing him, I hope to God you fade him.
Yeah, I don't think I'm playing him in any leagues this week.
I haven't looked yet. I'll look in a little while.
But you know, they are a little bit different without the enemy. You know, granted, he doesn't have the outside weapons and all, but it's still the offense looks a little bit different without the enemy there. But you know, who knows? They're about to just absolutely take a massive shit all over the Bears and probably beat them by like 35, 40 points.
Probably. Running backs, top 20. Number 20 is Jerome Ford, Raheem Mostert at 19, Isaiah Pacheco, Javonte Williams, Alexander Madison, James Cook, Miles Sanders, Ramondre Stevenson. The questionable Aaron Jones is at 12. Kenneth Walker III is at 11. Jahmyr Gibbs 10, Joe Mixon 9, Josh Jacobs is in the 8th spot. The dinged up Travis Etienne is at 7. Kyron Williams of the Rams is at 6. Derrick Henry's at 5. Bijan Robinson at 4. Tony Pollard at 3. The dinged up Austin Eckler currently in the 2 spot. And the number 1 running back for this week, as probably projected by every person with a pulse, is Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. You know, I see Eckler up there at the 2. Eckler's they're already talking about Eckler being out for a few weeks. You know,
I don't think he plays this week. I don't think Aaron Jones plays this week. With
they
the hamstring.
ETN just had cramps. on Sunday.
Yeah, but that's one of those where I don't love it because a cramp. It's like, oh yeah, he's feeling like he's having a cramp, and then it's like, well, it's not really a cramp. It's really like a pull, and then
Mm-hmm.
uh, Jahmyr Gibbs in the top 10. Potentially no David Montgomery. Hello, we talked about that a little while ago.
Oh, yeah.
The rankings
Feed me
prove that.
Seymour.
Hmm?
Feed me Seymour.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there
Mm-hmm.
anybody else? Joe Mixon with the potential injury to Joe Burrow cracking the top 10. I think because you're going to see a lot of carries from Joe. Um, Kyron Williams in the top 6. Is that just because of how much that if they get out to a big lead, it's going to, or the fact that Cincinnati can't stop the run?
That's always a massive factor, and yeah, your teams have just been able to run on you guys this year, and it's you got to plug up that middle somehow. But I guess these are the experts, and these are their rankings. I just like to see where my guys are in my teams and how low down they are from week to week, and where there's good value when I think about my DFS. So
Mm-hmm. The top
um,
the top 20 for wide receivers is an interesting one. We'll go there now. At 20 is Garrett Wilson, long touchdown catch from Zach Wilson, no relation. Number 19 TK is T Higgins. 18 is the ribbed injured DK Metcalf. Keep an eye on him. See how he progresses throughout the week. Mike Evans is at 17. Calvin Ridley at 16. AJ Brown at 15. Michael Pittman at 14. Jalen Waddle in the concussion protocol is at 13. Devontae Smith is at 12. Chris Olave at 11. Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is questionable, is at 10. Debo Samuels, Puka Nakua, Keenan Allen, C.D. Lamb, Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. And the number one wide receiver for week number 3 is probably the best wide receiver in football. It's Jay Jettis, Justin Jefferson. I will start this conversation, and I'm going to ring the alarm of my own team. There is no reason why Jamar Chase should be in the top 5 this week. Health concerns of Joe Burrow, the outstanding play of Stephon Diggs, the outstanding play of Keenan Allen, C.D. Lamb, Puka Nakua, even Amon-Ra St. Brown. If I'm and let's be real here. T. Higgins is at 19. T. Higgins had 2 touchdown catches in that Ravens game.
and Pittman, and like you said earlier with Gardner, if Gardner is under center, Pittman's going to eat. You
A
know,
lot.
so I mean, listen, these guys they go based upon. I mean, you do realize a lot of the rankings are based upon name. Because yeah, Jamar is one of the top 4 in the game. He's deservingly so, but these are based upon Joe Burrow playing.
Correct.
You know,
He's a
these
top
rankings
4 wide receiver when the number 2 quarterback or number 3 quarterback in football is under center.
exactly. And
It's not
until Joe
whenever he's
Burrow
not.
is declared out, that's what the rankings are going to be. You know, I
Correct.
get it.
So
Uh,
do I, but
what I,
it's
depending upon who else you have, like most people, most people, if you draft accordingly, and if you see something like this, where do you really want to wait for Monday night? No.
no, unless you're picking up Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
So you have the straight up handcuff. That's the only way I'm like waiting for Monday night. If not, I'm going with whom up, and there goes the no hitter, and it's gone,
Yep. Yeah, top of the night.
and it's gone. Oh, they didn't even let him go out and throw the 8th.
No, they took him out.
That's horseshit. Fuck those guys. No wonder they
Yeah,
deserve
he
to lose
was
that no hitter. You fucks.
fucking
Sorry,
overrun.
baseball talk. Baseball talk on a football show. Top 10 tight ends. Basically, it's the top 2 and then everybody else. At number 10 is Cole Kmet. At number 9 is David Njoku. 8 is Sam Laporta. 7 is Evan Ingram. 6 Dallas Goddard. 5 is George Kittle. Darren Waller's at 4. Mark Andrews is at 3. Then it's the 2 guys that if you have them, you're very happy with your tight end position. It's TJ Hawkinson and then it's Travis Kelce.
Yeah, nothing. I know Pitts has a good matchup this week.
He is 13th
Uh, yeah.
behind ageless wonder Zach Ertz and
Hunter,
Pat
Hunter,
Fryermuth.
Hunter Henry has a great matchup this week.
I think Tyler Higbee has a fairly decent matchup against the linebackers and safeties of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
So if
There's plenty to go around. There's plenty to go around if you got to stream somebody.
oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. All right, let's talk DFS guys, and then we can get the hell on out of here. Obviously, Jerome Ford will probably have a fairly high value because he's going to get number one carries. Kyron Williams' value will probably be a little bit more elevated, proving that Cam Akers was there.
Ford, nope. Ford is 4,800, but he's going up against the number one run defense. So now this is the funny thing. Everybody and their mother is going to be so high on Jerome Ford, and he's going to be the back going forward. But
Correct.
you're going to go against a team who has proven in the last 2 weeks that they have the best run defense in football. So he's going to get shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lose your shit. Oh, I wasted a number one waiver claim. I wasted half my fab. And this guy got me 38 yards and no touchdown. Blah, 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 blah. Stop your bitching. It's fantasy football. You guys are not going to put up 30 fucking points a week.
Correct.
You're going to have bad weeks. Chances are you're not going to bench him, though.
No.
Just something to think about. No, because they do still have Nick Chubb listed on here at 7,900. I believe these lineups are done a week in advance.
Okay.
Because I've seen lineups where Cooper Kupp is still in here. And Cooper Kupp's on the IR. Yeah. Even if you're on the IR, you're listed on DraftKings.
All right, let's talk quarter. We'll go position by position. Give me a quarterback that you think is a play this week. Give me a guy that you think is a play, and give me a guy that you think is an avoid.
The play. I mean, if you're going to pay up, is Mahomes. He's just going to dump all over the Bears. But if you're looking for some value and you want to save some money, Deshaun at 6,100 against Tennessee, whose secondary is atrocious. And the guy we mentioned a couple of times already, Gardner Minshew, 5,100 going against Baltimore. Probably going to have to throw because they're going to be behind.
Especially if he gets announced as being the starter.
Yes.
My guy for if I'm going to spend the money this week is going to be Tua Tagovailoa against the Denver Broncos, especially if Jalen Waddle plays. Because if Jalen Waddle plays, that means Pat Surtain II is going to be on Tyreek Hill, which means Jalen Waddle, Braxton Berrios, and the running backs will probably be open most of the day. Because basically, if you're not going against PS2, then I don't give a fuck what Denver's doing defensively. Because fuck them. That's why.
Yeah.
If I'm looking for value, I'm not going to. I agree. Gardner Minshew is a good play. Another play here that I actually think should be a fun one is Derek Carr on the road at the Packers. He looked good at certain points in that drive against Carolina, especially that last drive where he hit Olave with that pass that I thought he got in for a touchdown and almost gave me a half a chance of winning the Dynasty League until they ruled him out of bounds. Thanks for that, guys. He is going for 5,500 at Green Bay. So he's another guy that has some fairly decent value that I'm cool with. My guy to avoid this week, he's going for 7,100. I get it. They're probably going to throw the ball a lot because Patrick Lavon Mahomes II is going to shit all over him. But I'm avoiding Justin Fields like the goddamn plague.
Yeah.
God, he's not been good this year.
No, he's not. He's not developing as fast as they wanted him to.
It's not good. It's not good.
I mean, and they brought in a weapon for him. They brought in a guy like DJ Moore.
Yeah.
You got good young running backs behind you, but there's just something the kids. I don't know if he's having trouble seeing over the line
because he's 3'7". He's got the Kyler Murray fucking syndrome.
I get it, man. You got to give these guys a shot, but that's why prototypical 6'2" quarterbacks have been winners. If they could see over the goddamn line.
Correct. All right, let's move to the running back position. My guy this week, that is my guy that I'm going to play for his price tag, the upper price tag. It's Kenneth Walker III, 6,200 against the Carolina Panthers. He looked great last week. I think they figured out whatever wasn't going their way in week one. Maybe it was because they didn't lose 3 offensive linemen in this game like they did in week 1 against the Rams. Or it was the fact that they weren't facing Aaron Donald again. because that guy can fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that I would play at 6,100. If you're looking for value guy, give me Justice Hill. I think he's going to have some goal line carries against Indianapolis. He's a guy that might get a ton of work in the second half if they have a big lead. He's going for 4,800. Yeah, I'm good with Justice Hill.
Yeah, I agree with you with Kenneth Walker. Going homer, but he's getting the goal lines. Charbonnet was in there for 4 or 5 plays.
I'll have a
Um,
Chardonnay.
yeah. And my value is going to be Josh Kelly. A lot of people are going to be down on him. He's going up against that Minnesota run defense that's about as hot garbage as Tennessee is right now.
Hot garbage.
You know, and if we're looking for a guy to avoid this week,
I know who mine is, and that's fine.
I mean, and I have him, and I'm probably going to start him, but it might be Madison.
That's exact. That was 100% the name that I had.
I'm just like, like this guy in the games that he played in the past, when Dalvin Cook would be out, this guy's getting 22 carries. He's catching 4 or 5 passes out of the backfield, goal line carries.
Mm-hmm.
Dalvin Cook's not there. Like, how are you not feeding him the ball this much? I know Kirk's slinging it because
because they have Justin Jefferson. That's why.
That's true. But Kirk is also playing for a contract.
Correct. Another name, since you picked the name that I had put away, I'm going to go with Zach Moss of the Indianapolis Colts on the road at Baltimore. They're going to be down a bunch.
Yeah.
So they're going to be throwing the ball a lot more than running the ball. I get it. His value is only 5,500, but there's guys underneath him that have better upside, and there's guys that are a few $100s more that have superior upside than Zach Moss does this week against Baltimore.
And keep an eye out for Tank Bigsby, 4,700 on
Tank Bigsby. We love us some
Tank.
We love us some Tank on this show. That one's for you, Rhino. All right, wide receivers. I'm playing no matter what is the 6,200 of Michael Pittman Jr. Because they're going to throw the ball a lot because they're going to be losing. This is pretty obviously take there. The other name, my cost efficient wide receiver. And I don't know why I keep going to this guy, but I think against the Chargers, I think he could be a lot of fun on the opposite side of Jettas and Addison. Give me KJ Osborne going off at 4,000 this week.
That's some good value, and I like that.
He put up 12.4 last week, 3 catches for 34 yards and a touchdown. He had 3 catches for 31 in the week 1 game against Tampa Bay.
I'm with you with Pittman. But I'd be willing to pay up this week for Jefferson because they're playing the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
He's worth the 9,300 playing the Chargers.
I agree.
And if you want some good value, and I'm going against my own team, Adam Thielen is 3,900 on DraftKings.
Hooked on a feeling.
He's definitely that's my flex play in every league I'm playing because Tariq Woolen chest injury. They don't know what the hell's going on with him.
Yeah,
but he said he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Thielen is definitely some good value there. The guy that I'm going to avoid for week number 2, he plays for the Denver Broncos. It's Jerry Jeudy because he's going to face Xavier Howard. He's going to face the secondary there. And I think Russ is going to be running for his goddamn life because that offensive line is not good. And the front four for the Dolphins is really good.
And neither is Sierra's husband.
Correct.
He's horrible. He's absolutely horrible.
Buddy, when you sent me that you took them, I almost wanted to say, are you trying to be trolled by him?
I just can't get away from him. And I wanted to take Tampa all day. Another good value, Kadarius Toney, only 4,600.
Did they get his hands out of the stone?
I think so.
All right, that's not a bad play then. Just making sure.
Yeah, and I believe it was the guy that I was probably going to avoid only because their secondary is good, and I'm definitely starting them in a season long. But I would definitely avoid Olave this week going up against Green Bay.
Yeah, he's probably going to get the Jair Alexander shadow.
Hmm. Yeah, this is the four catches for
Yeah, I mean,
50,
I'm gonna
60
be stuck.
yards.
I'm gonna be stuck starting him in the dynasty league this year, but
You
because
can't
I
you
have to.
can't
But
you can't bench him in season long.
no, no. But if you
You
can
can't.
avoid him in a DFS, I would avoid him like the
Hmm.
plague. Tight ends, obviously, it's Kelsey, it's Hawkinson. If I'm looking for any kind of value, we mentioned Hunter Henry against the New York Jets, 4,100. I like Sam Laporta against Atlanta, going off for at 4,000. Um, the only name that I'm really sitting here saying avoid is Cole Kmet, and that's because Justin Fields has been not good.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I like Pitts this week, only at 3,900, and like you, Hunter Henry. Uh, and let's see.
I mean, can we just avoid the
Somebody
entire
who
tight end position in general? Because if you don't have one of the fucking top two, it doesn't fucking matter. It feels like,
flex everybody.
yeah, flex
Flex
leagues for
everybody.
all. All right, last one, defense, because that is something that you can put in your DraftKings. Um, the one I want to start is the Jacksonville Jaguars. 3,800 there, the number 3 price defense playing the Houston Texans. If I'm looking for value, I'm contemplating the Buffalo Bills at 2,900 against the Washington Commanders. And if there's a defense that I'm looking to avoid like the plague, it is probably the Cleveland Browns defense this week against Tennessee.
Um, well, since I never really want to pay up for defense, if I wanted to go with somebody that I know, I'd pay 3,200 with Seattle. Um, and Washington's got a pretty decent defense at home, and they're only 2,400.
I would
Um,
contemplate 2,800 for the Jets against the Patriots as well.
but I would take the hard pass at trying to save all my money and going with the Bears.
I would spend the extra 200 and put the Commanders defense in over the goddamn Bears.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, at this point, I'd pay the extra 400 and consider starting the fucking Denver Broncos defense
Hmm.
because I literally think that this might be one of those teams that gets a negative fantasy point total in
Those
DFS.
are always fun.
So,
Those are
um,
always fun. Make you feel good inside.
yeah, fuck. All right, let me go on Sleeper real quick, and we'll get out of here. As I open up the Sleeper app, looking at some props that are on here. Currently, for the Thursday night game, Niners at Giants. Um, the anytime TD stuff isn't bad. I'm trying to see if there's one that's Daniel Jones passing yards over under 214.5, Brock Purdy 230.5 for the
Ooh.
two quarterbacks. Let's look on here. Click on this. Players. Obviously, the most trending players right now on the Sleeper app for fantasy: Jerome Ford, Matt Breida, Tony Jones in New Orleans. He had 2 touchdowns, right?
Tony Jones, I believe, had two. Yes.
34 yards on 12 carries and a pair of touchdowns last night. So he's a name that people will probably overspend on. Obviously, Josh Reynolds, Kareem Hunt is being picked up at an alarming clip. Kyron Williams is at 6. The Chiefs defense is at 7. Number 8 is Nico Collins. 9 is Tank Dell in Houston. And number 10 on the waiver wire right now is Zach Ertz. And then you have Hunter Henry, Tutu Atwell, Zach Moss, Craig Reynolds, and then Seattle's defense rounds out the top 15. 5.4 million ads of Jerome Ford, 1.3 million ads of Matt Breida to most people's sleeper league rosters. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I think I just created a bomb ass lineup though for Sunday's slate. Holy
All right, read it off.
Mahomes, Kelly, Walker, Jefferson, Pittman, Josh Reynolds, Hunter Henry, Adam Thielen, Washington's defense.
More than a feeling. Yeah, we
Oh
just
my
did that on
god.
the show.
Oh my god. Let's go put this in
That either has to be the greatest lineup ever, or Patrick Mahomes is going to be the only person that scored for you this week. It's going to be one of the two.
no, Thielen against Seattle, Hunter Henry against what's his name? And Josh Reynolds is dirt cheap.
Oh, 1,000%. I talked about Josh Reynolds. I thought he was.
I
I
might
thought he
I
was.
might I might let's go look at my DraftKings money that I've won. I have $3.55 left. I might put that into a 50-cent lineup. Look at me
Fuck,
spending money.
fuck yeah!
I'm balling, son.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for the FKC Fantasy Hour. We appreciate you hanging out with us in the first episode of Life After Nick Chubb.
And let and a show without Ryan.
Yeah, well, he'll be back next week, thankfully.
Okay.
If you're not already, please like, subscribe, thumbs up over here at the Huddle Up Incorporated. You can follow our producer, CEO, and founder of Huddle Up Incorporated, Big Jim. He can be found at Big Jim Sports on the Twitter. I will not call it X. Fuck that shit. You can follow me there at They Call Me Burn. In Jim's account, you can find his link tree there. You can find all of the Huddle Up stuff, including the links to all of the Twitters, all the pages, as well as our TeePublic store where you can buy some cool merch and support the shows. You can go over there, tpublic.com, in the link tree of Big Jim Sports on X and Twitter, or whatever you want to call it tonight. But that's going to do it for us, guys. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We hope that your fantasy weeks are better than the injury bug that has taken over the weeks of the National Football League. Until next week, for Craig, I'm Mike. We'll see you guys right here on the FKC Fantasy Hour.
Have a good night.